Imagine gardens thriving under the mystical light of the moon, their growth influenced by the lunar cycle. This isn't a fantasy, but the reality of moon gardening. Picture the moon, a celestial body impacting your garden in ways you've never considered. Planting, pruning, harvesting, all guided by the phases of the moon. It's a concept as old as time, yet as fresh as the morning dew. Unearth the secrets of moon gardening, where the moon's phases guide the gardener's hand. The moon, a celestial object of wonder, holds sway over the earth and its inhabitants, including the plants in our gardens. Now let's dive into the scientific basis of moon gardening. It might sound like an idea straight out of a fairy tale, but there's a touch of reality here. The moon, with its gravitational pull, influences the tides of our oceans. But did you know it also affects the water within plants, impacting their growth and development? Think of it like this. The moon's gravitational pull is strong enough to move entire oceans, causing high and low tides. Now, plants are made up of more than half water, so it's not a far stretch to imagine that this same gravitational pull might have an effect on the water within plants. During certain phases of the lunar cycle, the moon's gravitational pull is stronger, causing the water in plants to rise. This increase in water movement can stimulate growth and make it an ideal time for planting. Conversely, when the lunar pull is weaker, the water in plants doesn't move as much. This could be a perfect time for pruning or harvesting, when you'd want to minimize stress on the plant. This is more than just an interesting theory. Studies have suggested there might be a connection between the lunar cycle and plant growth. For instance, some research has shown that seeds planted during certain phases of the moon germinate quicker and produce healthier plants. Of course, the moon isn't the only factor at play when it comes to plant growth. Sunlight, soil quality, and temperature all play crucial roles. But understanding the moon's influence can give gardeners another tool in their toolbox to help their gardens thrive. The moon's influence on our gardens is a testament to the interconnectedness of our universe. So next time you look up at the night sky, remember the moon isn't just a beautiful sight, it's a powerful ally in the quest for a bountiful garden. Every phase of the moon brings a different energy, influencing when to sow, prune, and harvest. Let's delve into the lunar cycle, a celestial ballet of light and shadow, and how it affects our green friends on Earth. The lunar cycle consists of 4 main phases: the new moon, the first quarter, the full moon, and the last quarter. Each phase lasts approximately 7 days, and is accompanied by a distinct energy that impacts plant growth in unique ways. Starting with the new moon, this phase is characterized by darkness as the moon is located between the Earth and the sun. It's a time of rebirth and new beginnings. In the garden, it's an excellent time to plant seeds, especially for above-ground crops that produce their seeds outside the fruit. Think lettuce, spinach, or celery. The increased gravitational pull and moonlight during this phase encourage seeds to swell and burst, marking the start of a new life cycle. As we move into the first quarter, the moon is half illuminated, waxing towards fullness. This phase is all about growth and vitality. It's a great time to continue planting and to encourage strong leaf growth. It's also the perfect time to mow your lawn to promote lush, thick grass. The full moon phase is up next, where the moon is fully illuminated, casting a bright glow on the earth. This is when the gravitational pull is at its peak, leading to increased moisture in the soil. It's an ideal time to plant root crops and bulbs like potatoes, carrots, or onions. The increased moisture content encourages strong root development. Finally, we arrive at the last quarter, where the moonlight starts to wane. This phase is a period of rest, a time for the plants to recuperate. It's the perfect time to prune, weed, and harvest. It's also a good time to mow the lawn to slow growth. Just remember, each phase brings its energy, and understanding this can transform your garden from ordinary to extraordinary. Aligning your gardening practices with the moon's phases can imbue your garden with celestial energy. Moon gardening isn't a new age trend, but a practice rooted in ancient wisdom. As far back as we can trace, humans have turned their gaze to the heavens, seeking guidance from the celestial bodies. And among these, the moon, with its rhythmic waxing and waning, has held a special fascination. In the cradle of civilization, ancient Sumerians were among the first to document the lunar cycles, using them to inform their agricultural practices. They believed that the moon's phases influenced the growth and productivity of their crops. This belief wasn't unique to them, it echoed across cultures and continents. Fast forward a few millennia to the Middle Ages in Europe. The Old Farmer's Almanac, a trusted guide for many an agriculturist, often included moon phase calendars and planting advice based on the lunar cycle. Even the opulent gardens of Versailles, with their intricate designs and lush greenery, were tended according to the ebb and flow of the moon. Across the globe, the indigenous tribes of North America held the moon in high reverence. They named each full moon of the year after the seasonal activities it influenced. The planting moon of May and the harvest moon of September are testaments to their recognition of the lunar influence on agricultural cycles. So how did this ancient wisdom find its way into our modern gardens? Well, in the 20th century, as organic and biodynamic farming began to take root, practitioners looked to the past for sustainable, holistic practices. And naturally, moon gardening resurfaced as a method to harness the rhythms of nature for healthier crops and a balanced ecosystem. Today, moon gardening is gaining popularity not only among farmers but also among urban gardeners and hobbyists. It's seen as a way to reconnect with nature's rhythms in our increasingly fast-paced, tech-driven world. Moon gardening ties us to our ancestors, reminding us of our enduring connection with nature. It's a practice that transcends time, cultures, and technologies, reminding us that no matter how far we advance, we're still a part of this vast, mysterious universe, guided by the same celestial rhythms that have shaped life on Earth for millennia. Now that we understand the moon's influence, how can we practically apply this knowledge in our gardens? Let's start with the basics. To garden by the moon, you'll need to keep track of the lunar cycle. There are plenty of apps and calendars available to help you do this. You could even go old school and get a physical lunar calendar, adding a touch of celestial charm to your kitchen or gardening shed. Once you've got a handle on the moon's phases, it's time to match your gardening activities to them. The new moon, when the moon is invisible from Earth, is a powerful time for sowing or transplanting leafy greens, grains, and annuals that produce their seeds outside of the fruit. This is the time when sap flow is at its highest, making it an ideal phase for growth and regeneration. As the moon waxes and becomes more visible, it enters its second quarter, which is perfect for crops that form seeds inside the fruit, like tomatoes, peppers, beans, and squash. This phase is associated with strong leaf growth. The full moon phase is when the moon is at its brightest and most visible. This is the time to plant root crops, bulbs, and perennials. The gravitational pull is high, but the moonlight is decreasing, which encourages root development. Finally, during the last quarter, as the moon wanes and its light diminishes, it's best to avoid planting altogether. Instead, focus on improving soil conditions, pruning, weeding, and harvesting. This phase is associated with rest, providing a chance for the garden to rejuvenate. Remember, moon gardening doesn't replace good gardening practices. It's an additional tool to enhance what you're already doing. Regular watering, soil health, pest control, and sunshine are still crucial for a thriving garden. With these tips, you can harness the power of the moon to enhance your garden's vitality. So why not give moon gardening a try? You might find that it brings a whole new level of wonder and enchantment to your gardening experience. Moon gardening is more than a practice, it's a way of harmonizing with nature's rhythms. As we draw this lunar exploration to a close, let's take a moment to reflect on the key insights we've unearthed. We've unraveled the mystery of moon gardening, a practice rooted in ancient wisdom and cosmic connection. This method of gardening, synchronized with the phases of the moon, is more than just planting seeds. It's about aligning our efforts with the natural rhythms of our universe. We've discovered how the lunar cycle influences plant growth, with each phase offering a unique opportunity. The new moon encourages germination, while the waxing moon promotes growth. The full moon is the time to harvest, and the waning moon, a period for pruning and maintenance. We've journeyed through time, exploring historical insights that hint at how our ancestors may have also gardened by the lunar calendar. From the ancient Celts to the farmers of the Middle Ages, these historical echoes serve as a reminder of our deep-rooted connection with nature and the cosmos. Finally, we've shared practical tips to help you incorporate moon gardening into your own green spaces. Whether it's planning your planting around the lunar calendar or timing your pruning to the moon's phases, moon gardening offers a unique and enriching way to engage with your garden. Embrace the mystery of moon gardening and let the lunar cycle guide your green thumb. Until next time, happy gardening under the moonlight.